So I decided to put a drive on this end. Now, cheapest I found, I think, were £255. But that's for a £255 is for a specific model like the Grizzlies and Warcos and that, not for this model. So the adapter kit that comes with it wouldn't fit this, so you'd have to start all over again. So I thought, well, I'll do it all from scratch. So, being a tight sod, I bought myself a wiper motor from Mondeo. I think it were £8.50 on eBay. Runs perfectly. It's got high speed, low speed. It'll go backwards if you reverse the polarity, which I've tested everything, it works fine. It's a good little motor. It's got a hell of a lot of power. I can't stop it. If I hold that with that running, I cannot keep that still no matter how hard I squeeze it, so it is quite powerful. Anybody who's done anything with wiper motors will know that the old mechanism, let's dig it out, this part of the old mechanism, they'll know that on the end of that motor you've got that, which is a bit of a parallel, then a taper which is splined, and then your fixing nut. So this one's got the same on here. So what I've done is I've created this sleeve and I've bored it and I've put a taper on it and the nuts on it, and I don't know if you've got to see inside, but no, probably not, but it's now fixed. So that's the hole I bored in it, which accepts that bar. So if I pull back a bit, that'll slide in and out of there. I'll lubricate that obviously when I've finished. The plan is to drill 2 holes in here to accept taper steel pin. There's no point in going into details because I'll just lose you. Basically, I'm going to do another video further on showing what I've done. But I got a socket, a fairly deep one, and I've machined it down, and I bored the half-inch drive out to accept this bar. Now it doesn't fit in because that's a press fit, and that'll be pressed in on the press with Loctite, and then also a grub screw to clamp it. So that should be good. That'll be cut down to a short length. Basically it's going to slide backwards and forwards in a shuttle on here, and I'm going to have a controller lever that'll operate it. I've pinched people's ideas, go on YouTube a lot, and I thought, yeah, bit of that. I've come up with an idea that I thought was just nice. That is the mounting plate for that, which I've had all bolted up, but I've taken that back off for now until I get more done. So what have I done on here? So the original end was this. That's what comes with the Tom Senior, and that's bolted on there. Basically all it does is the shaft sticks out of the end. It's just a plain half-inch shaft that sticks out. I needed some protrusion, but it didn't. It was flush with that. It finished flush there because you see the thickness of it. So it wouldn't have done. There's no support required at this end because the nut is back here and then the screw's back there. This is just a floating end, if you like, doesn't do anything. But when I made this plate, I thought, if I post this on YouTube, people will say, ooh, you've run in a half-inch bar straight through alloy with no bush. Well, I mean, alloy is a soft metal and the shaft is fairly hard, so I mean, you've got your bush there. But just to be sure and go a bit better than that, I've made a brass bush that's bored half-inch. It's a good fit. I'll lubricate that up before everything's done, and that is actually fixed with 3 screws behind here that I did on the array with the DRO. Then this is a piece of X-bar that fits that socket, and if I turn it a little bit, so look, you can see that they always say rather than do opposite grub screws, you better do 120 degrees. So I've put one there and one there, and I've slightly counter drilled the shaft a little bit so these nip right into it. So that's solid, is that now. And then what'll happen is there will be this socket that will engaged to be on there like that, and the wheel drive, the motor's going to be out here. Might as well hold it up. This shaft needs cutting down here, it's too big, I just made it of a length. So that's going to be probably cut down to about maybe there. This doesn't move, that's fixed to the plate, but basically it's going to be like that, and it'll slide backwards and forwards with that inner bar that I showed you a moment ago. So basically that's going to be engaged. If I want to use the hand wheel and I don't want this to use, just draw it back that far, and it'll freewheel, and then I can use the hand wheel. So I can move the carriage backwards and forwards as I require. If I want to use it, just simply back in. If it's running, it'll just go like that and it'll locate itself because it's only on a hex. So you just turn it and it'll just go. And I'm hopeful it's going to all work. I've got various switches and control knobs, which basically are more or less same as what I did with that when I did my lathe. Yeah, so I'm going to post it once I've done it. Luckily, the Mondeo wiper motor came with the plug on it, so at least I've got somewhere to start. I have ordered, I just hope it still comes with this coronavirus problem, a limit switch, because pull that off. There's various ideas what people have done, but basically this machine, it's really good. You've got an adjustable block there that'll adjust right back, and one there, so you've got full distance. If you want to use a stop, it's got this fancy device that you very nicely engineered, and you just push that up and lock it, and when you're winding your handle, it hits that stop or the other stop and it stops. So using that as limit switches, I've ordered a single roller plunger type, and what I don't really want to do is drill this machine, but I don't see how I can't without making it look damned ugly and picking these bolts up down here. So I'm probably going to fit the limit switch unit somewhere central, so you can see there, and make the plunger stuck up to a point where when the carriage comes along it pushes it down and stops it. So they'll be adjusted. Right, this is the part so far to convert the end of the X-axis on the Thomsenia, leaving the handle at that end intact. It's a metric machine. It's got the MDRO, but I'm going to take this panel off, put a bigger one on. I've got the panel, but obviously there's going to be more buttons and stuff, so I'm putting an RPM indicator on. It's going in here, all being well. Been advised not to, but you know, give you speeds for cutting and everything, and I can't use them because I don't know what speed I'm running at. This thing's so smooth it just spins round, you ain't got a clue what speed it's going at. So I'm going to put a taco in there as well. So this, so far, what we got, I've made some 8mm rods, screw in here and here. These are spacers, stainless steel 316. Believe it or not, that's conduit. I've got tons of the stuff, 25 and 20mm, that's 25mm conduit. I just thought I'd give support on there when the bolts are pulled through the centre, give it a good support. Could have made the studs solid, but they'd have been heavy. That's the plate that goes on. Sorry. That's a bush, just a bush. There's no side load on it anyway. The screws back here, the nut, sorry. There's no side load on it, but you know, it's all rotary. But that goes on there. And then the motor, that's going to be sort of there, oh, there. And on the motor, we've got this sliding mechanism, which will slide on and off there, to this nut, which are made from some hexagon bar and grub screws. So there's some indentations in here what I've drilled, so the two 120-degree grips on there, and then that just meshes on and off to it. Found that in a drawer at home. I haven't got a clue where it come from, but it's going to be a nice little handle. I'll cut it down probably, but the idea is when it's done there'll be a top plate on here, which is this, and I mean probably some sort of a round piece of bar. I've got some steel stock about 1.25 inch. You machine it nicely and paint it and drill it at an angle, so that'll be on, and that'll just simply do that. Pick it up underneath with a little cam idea that will go in that groove and just slide it backwards and forwards. Probably some sort of a detent, if you like. Strange thing is, of all the things I've got, and I've got a lot of stuff, I haven't got one ball bearing. A ball bearing, I've got plenty of springs. A little ball bearing's what I need to make a detent so it'll click. Anyway, something I can somehow get at some point if we're ever allowed out of the house. But anyway, that's it so far. I've got a box of gubbins to build that carton there. That's the cabinet for the panel. We've got a 20 amp power supply, the digital taco readout, some control knobs, and a speed controller in there. Oh, and the original wiring. When I bought this Mondeo wiper motor, it came with that plug chopped off, which is great because I connected it up and I could check for different things. Two of those wires aren't used because they're the park device, but two of them I will use slow speed, high speed, and then negative here, sorry, and that's slow speed and high speed. One's 40 RPM, one's 52, so I'll use the 52 in one direction only for carriage return, carriage return being that way, because you drive your motor, well I drive most of my work that way, so a carriage return. Then it's got Just a little addition to the video. Take them off. Got my handle working, so that's you off. It's quite simple, but I was trying to think of all sorts of ways of doing it, and I come up with this. And do you know what? It's so simple and easy. It's like a little gear selector on a gearbox, really, and that'll just rotate. It's just a half cut circle, if you can see that. Don't know. So yeah, even got some paint the right colour for the machine. Just a little bit more to add. We've seen this all finished. Well, it's bolted together and on. A little addition today is I've had all this off and fitted a taco in here. If you can see where I fitted it, I've actually made a disc that sits on top of the pulley and bonded it on, and in the disc I drilled a hole the size of the magnet and pressed it into it, and then bonded the whole thing on top. Some people on engineering forum didn't seem to think it were needed, that you could just stick the magnet on top of the pulley, which on the lathe, that's what I actually did. I mean, that's just magnets stuck on and the spindle there. I can't really take that cover off without moving all that, but the magnet on that's just stuck on, but that don't spin round as fast as I think that this might do at some point. And we've got to assume that this could run up to, I don't know, 3,000 RPM. Probably never will, but if it did, I was just wondering about the old centrifugal force of the magnet flying off into space. So I've actually drilled a disc and sat it in it so it can't. And then we've got equal weight all the way around. As the other thing is out of balance. I didn't want it to start vibrating. So now it's got equal weight all the way around. The hole I drilled in the steel's been replaced by the little disc magnet, so of a similar weight. Might be slightly heavier than mild steel. But that's all bonded on and finished. Put it all back together. I've had the motor off, the top plate off. Just easy to come off. There's just Allen screws, 4 of them. The motor's just got 2 bolts. I thought I'd boo-booed actually when I'd done this, because I originally marked it to go here. I need to wipe that mark off, but because I thought it might be close to the motor, and I forgot all about it when I took it off. And when I did it and put it back, I was just going to put the motor on, and I thought, the flange on the motor, it's going to hit it. Thinking I'm going to end up with a hole in there and have to drill another one. But it went on, and its belts have tensioned up fine. So yeah, another addition. Next thing is that's coming off. I'm going to strip it all, and then we've got a bigger panel here, and I drew this out on CAD last night, so that's roughly what it's going to look like. If you can see that. So top part's going to be for the mill. Rev counter going in there. Speed pot, forward, reverse, off. There was an e-stopping, which is on that panel now, but it's no good because the e-stop's connected to the stop, which there's no point in having 2 stops on it. Then down there, your X-axis control, power, off on, that'll knock the 12 volt on and off. A little speed pot that comes with the board, right dinky little thing, so small hole for that. Selector switch, left, off, right. If you put it to the left, it'll start straight away. Once this power's on, it'll just go. And then you turn it off, and if you want to return, I mean, I'm assuming I've put jog return, and I'm going to wire that up to the high speed of the wiper motor, because it's got 2 speeds, and obviously I'm just going to do that direction, because so far everything I've done, I've drove that way. I suppose you'd be driving it other way as well, but I've just put a fast return on that. I can always alter it later if I want to, but yeah, I don't think it's needed, but we'll see. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll add this to the video. Hiya. Really, this is a prequel, I think you might say, to the Shows Your Workshop series I'm doing, and the next one is going to be after this, Shows Your Milling Machine. But what I'd forgot to do was to show that I'd fitted this X-Drive, which I did a long time ago when I first got the machine, even before I built this wall. I've put, previous to this, there's the video showing me making the parts, etc. But at the end of it, I never showed it working. I think it was because I didn't have my control panel finished. And in the end, I've showed that rather than have a lever on the top here, that I just simply have a bar that pushed in and out. So to engage it in and out, it was simply that. So also I didn't show let's have a look, the limit switch, which is there. So if I set this thing going on, you can see me doing that, you can't, but anyway, that's running. You've got to see everything moving. And that is the safety switch. So it just simply stops it. Okay. And that's the control panel. This here, as you'll see, this idea was, these are the original stops, and I just put a little bit of angle iron on here. If I want to use the original stop by manually winding, I'll simply, as you can see that you can't, I'm talking to you and you can't see what I'm doing. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold. Yeah, so these are the original slide blocks that come with the milling machine, and I've added a little bit of angle on here so that when that presses up, it'll knock it off, which, let's have I'll nip that up. I've put these little quick handles on. So that's knocked off now. Yeah, you can see that. But what I'd said was, if I turn the drive the other way now, it won't go back. I have to disengage it by hand and bring it off the limit switch. Was it a good addition? Absolutely. I've used it now and it's been really, really good. Let's zoom out. I'll re-engage it, which, like that, and power off and power on, and drive it. The only thing that's not too clever is this speed control doesn't really work well, and I think I know why, and it's probably my own fault. This thing on it takes about 3 amp, and the power supply that I've got on the back of that panel is 20, so I don't think it's going to control it properly. I should have got maybe a 10 or even a 5 amp power supply. But as you can see, a great addition to a milling machine with a cheap motor, which is so simple to do. Costs very little, the whole project really. So I'm going to finish this, edit it up, put it on YouTube, which you'll see, and then I'm going to do the whole milling machine then, showing everything that I've done, and the pros and the cons against an old British against a Chinese import, shall we say. Thank you for watching. Click as a like if you do like it, and subscribe please if you've never seen this before. The whole idea is just show people what you've got and how you've done things, because there's a lot of people out there that haven't got a lot of money, and I'm not saying I have, but there's a lot of folk out there that, you know, they do things on a shoestring, and you could be one of them. And if you are, then, you know, why not use a Ford Mondeo wiper motor for £8, £8.50, and some aluminium plate. The whole thing, including power supply, probably ain't cost more than 40 quid, maybe 40 quid for a lot. So there's no point in spending £250 on a fancy power drive when you can do it for £40 or £50. So I hope it's been educational for anybody. All those that have got power drives will just laugh at this and think what a load of rubbish. But, you know, some people said it would break. Nylon gear in there won't last 2 minutes. I've used it a lot, and I've used it in anger, and it hasn't let me down so far. And if it did, I'll go on eBay and get another £8.50 motor and stick that on. And it's quiet enough. It's not like it's really noisy. So yeah, thanks for watching, and as I say, if you've never seen my channel before, please subscribe. There'll be lots and lots more to come, and all the rest of the workshop to do. So thank you.